Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're going to dive into a book that might just completely change how you think about time. It's called 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman.
Okay, let's just jump right in. See this number? 4,000. It doesn't look like much, does it? But this number, well, it's kind of the secret sauce of so much of our modern anxiety. It stands for something incredibly personal. And honestly, once you get what it means, it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, that's right. If you're lucky enough to live to be 80, this is it. This is all the time you've got. 4,000 weeks. I mean, when you hear that, it just sounds absurdly, insultingly short, right? To give you some perspective, the author Oliver Burkeman mentions that one of his friends guessed the number was in the six figures. But get this, a number like 310,000 weeks, that's not a human lifespan. That's roughly how long all of human civilization has even been around.
So that brings us to what the book calls the 4,000 week problem. This shortness, this is the fundamental challenge of being human. Think about it. We can dream up a basically infinite list of things we want to do, but we have almost no time to actually do any of them.
And, this isn't some new age 21st century anxiety. The Roman philosopher Seneca was writing about this exact same thing 2,000 years ago. He basically said we spend our whole lives just getting ready to live. And then, for most of us, life is over before we feel like we've even begun.
So, what's our modern answer to this problem? Well, it's this frantic obsession with productivity, right? Life hacks, time management systems, anything to squeeze more and more into our days. But here's the twist Brickman points out. This whole approach, it's a trap.
Yeah, the whole promise of productivity, it's kind of a lie. Think about it. The better you get at your job, the more efficient you are. What happens? You just get more work tiled on. You finally get to inbox zero, and what happens next? You just get more emails. You're not actually clearing a path to freedom. You're just becoming this endless conveyor belt for everyone else's demands. It's exactly what Parkinson's law is talking about. I mean, a perfect example of this is when labor-saving inventions like the washing machine came out. You'd think housewives would suddenly have all this free time, right? Nope. What actually happened was that society's standards for cleanliness just got higher. The work simply expanded to fill the time. And if you look back, you can see how our whole relationship with time has gotten, well, warped. Back in the medieval era, time was tied to tasks. You milked the cows when they needed milking. Simple. It was a natural rhythm. Then along came the Industrial Revolution and the clock, and suddenly time became a resource to be used, to be exploited. And now, for us, time feels like an enemy we have to conquer, which leads to this constant, joyless urgency in everything we do. So, you add all this stuff up, right? The efficiency trap, the work that never ends, this battle against the clock, and you get to a really crucial point. The whole idea of trying to master your time, it's doomed from the start. It's guaranteed to fail because, well, you can't win a fight against reality itself. Okay, so if that whole productivity chase is a trap, then what are we supposed to do? Well, Burkeman offers a pretty radical alternative. What if you just stop fighting? What if, instead of trying to conquer your limits, you actually embrace them? This is where we get to the idea of finitude and the freedom that comes with it. See, finitude isn't some problem you need to solve. It is what it means to be human. Having limited time isn't just some annoying inconvenience we have to deal with. It's the very thing that makes us who we are. And this leads to a really wild paradox. The only way to win is to admit defeat. The only way you can finally start doing the things that truly matter is to first accept, really accept, that you can't do everything. And you might think this sounds depressing, but it's not. As one writer put it, it's like a jolt from an icy shower. In a good way. It wakes you up from this dream that you can have total control and drops you into a life that's actually way more peaceful and a lot more meaningful. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually live like this? It's not just a change in mindset, there are actual practical things you can do. And it all begins with getting really good at neglecting stuff. He calls it the art of creative neglect. This means you have to consciously decide which balls you're going to drop. Yeah, you're going to have to disappoint some people. You're going to have to abandon some of your ambitions. And you know what the most dangerous distractions are? They're not the boring chores. They're the pretty good opportunities that are just appealing enough to pull you away from the things that could be truly great. And part of this is learning to commit. There was this fascinating Harvard study where they let people choose an art poster to take home. They told one group, hey, your choice is final. They told the other group, you can swap it out anytime in the next month. And guess what? The people whose choice was final were way, way happier with their poster. Why? Because they were free from that nagging fantasy that there might be a better choice out there.
And the last piece of the puzzle here is patience. You have to learn to cultivate real patience. That means, first, getting okay with the idea that life is supposed to have problems. It means you stop looking for that magical quick fix, and it means you learn to stick with things. There's this great analogy from a photographer who said you have to stay on the bus. At first, the route feels boring and unoriginal, but all the really unique, amazing places, they're at the very end of that same route. So when you start to put all this together, when you really start to embrace this finite life, it leads to one final, huge realization. And I'll warn you, it sounds really depressing at first, but it might just be the most freeing thought you ever have.
Okay, here's the blunt truth. In the grand scheme of things, what you do with your life doesn't really matter that much. You're almost certainly not going to put a dent in the universe. And you know what? The universe absolutely 100% could not care less. But that's not depressing. It's a huge relief. Think about it. It lets you off the hook. You don't have to be some world-changing historical figure. You don't have to stress about your legacy. It frees you up to find real, deep meaning in the small, concrete stuff. Making dinner for your family, helping out a neighbor, just doing your job with care. You're finally free to just live your one, real, marvelously ordinary life. So at the end of the day, this might be the only time management advice anyone ever really needs. Forget all the hacks and the optimized schedules. The only question that really matters is the one Carl Jung posed. Just, what is the next and most necessary thing? Do that, and you'll be doing something that matters.